What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. West Ham against Tottenham. The first London derby of the season for us anyway. We are here with Nicky Hawkins, West Ham Fan TV. Welcome back, mate. How you doing?
Right. Nice to have you back, man. Nice to have you back.
Thank you very much.
Well, you know, West Ham this season.
Oh, God.
Do you want to get into it?
Are you sure you want to talk? Let's go. You want to talk about anything else apart from West Ham? Lighten the mood?
Look, I think, obviously a shocking start to the season for you lot, but 3-0 win last time out. We actually lost our last game, 1-0 to Bournemouth, but any sort of positivity coming from that?
Yeah, I think you've got to look at positives. He changed the system, which was all calling for, and it worked. Somerville coming back, I think that was massive for us because we was really lacking on the wings because we sold someone this summer and we never replaced him really. And yeah, Callum Wilson doing well. I think that, you know, there was positive signs. Fernandez coming in and giving us a bit of energy. Magassa's gone, you know, sort of in and around the squad now. We don't know whether he's going to start Saturday. So yeah, things are looking a bit more positive than they were because, you know, I'm going to be honest. Before the transfer window. And before we signed in a couple of players, I couldn't see a way out of it. To be honest, it was looking grim. But you know, listen, I still don't think we've done enough. I don't think we've got enough.
Fabianski's not enough. You know,
no, well, he's got to come back. I mean, that is the levels we're talking.
What's that about? Why have you re-signed him?
Fotheringham wanted to leave, so Fotheringham was our third choice. So Fotheringham's gone out, and it's obviously the transfer window's closed now. And he's got his. I mean, Fotheringham was never going to play. I always thought we should have kept Fabianski anyway over Fotheringham because Fotheringham is you know, he's been there a couple of years. He's one of them players that, you know, he's never going to play for the team. But Fabianski's got a big voice in the changing room, and I think sometimes you need that. We lost so many voices in the changing room this summer. We lost Cresswell, we lost Antonio, we lost Fabianski. So I don't think that's always helpful to lose that many voices, you know, going into new seasons. So,
but you did this whole goodbye for him, you know, because he's been undercover so long.
It feels like a right mug.
A couple of months later, he's back.
Got a bigger goodbye than Harry Kane.
Literally, and he didn't even leave. Would this have been a new manager bounce game if Potter hadn't won that game against Forest? Do you think he would have been sacked?
No, I don't think he would have. I mean, I think it would have. Depending on the severity of the loss. But if he'd have gone into the same system, same players, same team, you know, especially seeing as you've signed a couple of players, I think they might have looked at it as if to say, you know, one more big loss against Tottenham or someone at home, and the crowd's going to turn. And I don't think it's. But you know, I don't think it would have been changed for this game. I'm honest. But you saying that, there's a couple of managers come available, which you know we. There's a couple that I would probably take over Potter right now if you ask me. But that Apple don't work like that. They're not going to just, because they've become available, they're not just going to sack him now. He's probably got this game, a heavy defeat here, and he could be in trouble here.
But you look at Potter, right? Like, we spoke before that Forest game, and you were like, look, just get him out. I'm ready for him to go now, yeah. On the back of that Forest game now, you've won 3-0. Has that changed? Because look, he did show signs of changing. He's changed up the system, won 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, he had to do that for me. If he'd have gone in,
but does he get credit in the bank for doing?
He's got to. Yeah, he's got to. If you're going to displace him for doing the opposite, you've got to give him credit. And I've always said that. You know, I might say what I say, but it's based on what I've seen in previous weeks. You know, Potter was showing no signs of changing, at all. So in that instance, you've got to turn around and go, well, if he's not going to change, then we've got to change. So if you go into a game now and he changes the complete system and it works, you've got to turn around and go, well, fair play, you've done it, but let's see what he does this week. If he reverts back to a 5 this week, then there's a problem. You know, there's an issue. But I don't think he will. I think he's going to go pretty much the same lineup against you like that he did against Forest.
Yeah, but is there a worry? I guess he played a 5 against Chelsea. He played a 5. What was your first game? Sunderland. Played a 5 in that game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when you look at them games, Sunderland. Well, why are you playing 5 against Sunderland? You know, they're Sunderland. With all due respect.
But against Spurs, are you worried? You're not worried if he doesn't kind of be a bit pragmatic, be a bit smarter. You could be opened up with, you know, some of the players we got.
Well, I think we've got to get on the front foot. We've got to try and get on the front foot. We're not going to do ourselves any favours by putting ourselves on the back foot because you have got a lot of quality there. So if we put ourselves on the back foot by, you know, playing 5 and trying to play the way we have, we've already been opened up with, I think it was 11 goals in 3 games playing that way. And then you go into a Spurs game Why would you do that? You know, you've got to go with what worked. Whether you're going to get opened up or not, we've got quality players ourselves. We've got the likes of Bowen, Paquetá, who played very well the other day, which is a breath of fresh air. Somerville, who came on and he ripped them apart. Wilson is in good form at the moment. Seems like he looks like scoring every time he comes on. So we've got to get on the front foot. Our strengths don't lie in trying to defend. If we do that, we get opened up like Christmas.
What happened in that game? I think it was the Carabao Cup. Jared Bowen had an altercation with a fan going over to the away.
Yeah, he came on. He went over. I know exactly what happened because it was one of my friends as it happens. But he went over there, and somebody said, "You're a fucking mug" or something to him.
Well, in harsher words, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he went, "Come over here and say that." And the fan went, "Well, you come here and say it." And then they sort of started going, "But it's a heat of the moment. It's one of them things."
Why is he reacting to that?
Probably just pressure. I don't think he should be captains of the football team. Sometimes when you got fans, I'd gone up to Sunderland. I didn't get to Wolves as a matter of fact because there was a crash on the motorway as I was going up there, so I had to turn around. But if you'd have travelled them to do 2 games, watch and the home game, watch you concede 11 goals, you've got a right to turn around and say what the fuck's going on, and the captain should not be reacting as if you want to fight there. They should be standing there and taking the criticism, in my opinion. I know that fans are harsh. I know that words can be said because somebody did say to me, maybe something personal said, but apparently it wasn't. It was just, what the fuck is going on?
On the flip side of that, like from an outsider point of view, like there are plenty of other people that you should be directing your criticism and anger at than Jared Bowen.
But he's there. The others had already gone in. That's the issue, and maybe that was to Jared's detriment because he'd gone over there, and maybe he didn't deserve that at that time. But the people that you want to direct your anger with, instead of coming over to the fans and saying, "Well, thank you for coming," I know they just fucked up in, and they're all having their slice of pizza and their cup of tea.
Yeah, but I guess when it comes to Burnley, he must be frustrated at the moment because at that time, I know you just won 3-0, he scored, so maybe things have changed. But Kudus had left. We'll talk about that a bit later. Paquetá at that moment looked like he could be leaving.
Yeah.
He had a horrible start to the season. Things were just going wrong. He was the one after the first 2 games who'd come out and said, "Oh, it's a loss, but we got to learn from all this kind of stuff." Then you lose again against Wolves after being in the lead. Like for him as a player who has ambitions of being in the England squad for the World Cup, and this is probably his last chance, let's be honest, of going to a World Cup. So like at that moment, he's got to be thinking like, when the window was closing, like, should I still be here, kind of thing, like the frustration.
He's tied himself in for a long time. I don't think he'll ever leave, to be honest. I think he's.
I don't think he can leave with the family he's got.
No. But I'm sure if a Champions League team come along, he probably would. If a Liverpool or maybe a Man City or someone come along, I think he'd have to consider that. I think if any player didn't consider it, I'd start questioning their ambition.
I heard Danny Dyer speaking once, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll let him leave. He can go to a Man City, but never a Tottenham."
But yeah, so. Yeah, it's just one of them things where I think he's just frustrated with the situation, and he knows he's tied in. And at the end of the day, as the captain, and there's a lot of questions about his captaincy. Is he captain material? I'm not convinced, if I'm honest. I think it's too much pressure on the guy. I think you just let the guy play football without taking responsibility, and I think you get better out of him. But if you're going to take on that role, sometimes it gets a lot when it's not going well. So
looking at the Kudus situation, like the last couple of times I've been to West Ham, I haven't really felt that kind of like intense kind of derby atmosphere, but I feel that's going to change this weekend.
Damn squib, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was really bad.
It was the end of the season. Both teams playing for nothing. We were playing a second team after like a Europa League game or something, and it was just like a boring 1-1.
We'd done that a couple of years with you, didn't we? When we went there, I think we lost 1-0, and we was in the middle of the Frankfurt games, and it was just can't be bothered.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I think this game has got that extra edge on it now with the Mohamed Kudus thing.
Spicy, yeah. It's going to be spicy, this one.
Is there going to be anything planned? Like I know there are banners in your first game of the season and away games and stuff, but do you think there's going to be some sort of banners or anything? Or
unless he brings them again, the geezer that bought them in the first place.
Like when Sol Campbell came back to the lane, we had balloons with Judas, kind of stuff?
I'm sure there'll be something.
There's going to be something.
But I'm all for that, because that is, we've done it with Rice and we got criticism. You can't let a player turn up and not give him a bad reception. He played for years now, playing for a rival. I know rivalry is different than a rival. We're still rivals. We're rivals with Nottingham Forest. We're rivals with Fulham. Doesn't matter. We're in the same league. We're competing for the same prizes. So if you let them come up and you don't give them any stick, you know, Rice had 3 really bad games because of that. You know what I mean? So you have to try and listen, and time will tell, right? But last year, Kudus got very frustrated at your ground, and what did he start doing? He started come through, slapping people around.
Got sent off, yeah.
We want to get that, so we know it's in him. So yeah, of course, give it to him. I'm all for that. Give it to him. Give it to him. Give it to him. Do not let him have an easy ride. Get Walker Peters or Wan-Bissaka, whoever it is, or whoever's on the other side, to whack him early. Get up him.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be a proper pantomime villain kind of thing. He's going to get dog's abuse every time he's on the ball.
Good, that's what he deserves.
But there's
Is he going
like
to
2
get stuck
different...
in as well? Some of the players you expect?
Yeah, of course.
I think Jared Bowen's going to try kick a lump out of him.
No, I don't think Jared is like that. But apparently, like, you know, since the story's come, you can always take this as a pinch. He's a bad egg in our changing room. Like, not a lot of people really.
Well, there's a report came out that he actually wanted to leave after the first season.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
you know, maybe that tells the story of last season as well.
Yeah. But it's not good as a character.
In terms of character, right, there's 2 different characters on the pitch. There's one that kind of rises to the occasion when he gets abused, and he kind of like lives for those moments.
This is it, isn't it? So
but
this
what
is
kind
it.
of is just?
I don't know. I don't know. Is it? As I said, he's prone to violence. You've seen it. You've seen it. You know what I mean? Your players know. You know, he was getting frustrated at the game.
He whacked Van de Ven in the face, didn't he?
He whacked him, he whacked Richarlison, he started slapping...
It was like that meme of that guy who comes up and slaps.
Yeah, but it was like, you know, so he's susceptible to feeling that pressure. And we've got to know that, you know what I mean? We've got to get people in his ear roll as soon as the game, you know, just test him. You test him. But listen, Kudus is a fabulous... I said this yesterday on a preview, and people didn't really... He's very good at keeping the ball, but he does lose it, if that makes sense. Like, he keeps the ball strong, but he does run into avenues where
blind alleys
and stuff. So, like, you know, it's an afternoon where we have to try and frustrate him. Listen, and that I'm not dismissing the other team. You know what I mean? We got reminded from a couple of fans. We've got Simmons, and now we've got Kolo Muani and all that. So if you just concentrate on Kudus, you might become unstuck. Listen, them 2 haven't played in the Premier League yet. We'll see what they're like. London derby in the first game. I don't know whether that's going to be the smartest thing to do. But, yeah, we are quite aware. But I think it'll be a decent game. I think that the spiciness of it will give it a real edge this week.
How are you looking at Spurs? How are you looking at Spurs?
Decent.
Thomas Frank?
Yeah, decent
wins,
start. I mean, losing to Bournemouth is not... sorry, I just whacked my ankle there. Losing to Bournemouth is no disgrace. A good organised side, and obviously Frank's still finding his feet. A couple of great performances up at Man City. But he looks like he's doing the right things, and he's getting the players in. You know, he's looking at he's very good at converting wingers into players that create lots of chances, and I think you can see that. Richarlison looks a different player, but we did see. You know, Richarlison went a bit quiet on Saturday. Was it Saturday or Sunday? Saturday. So did Mo. You know what I mean? And that is what we see from Mo. You know, and you start to see it. If the things are not going Mo's way, Mo seems to go back in his shell, and he seems to try and play very safe. And yeah, so listen. I don't think it's going to be that easy. We're not no Bournemouth, that's for sure. But we have just come off the back of a good result. So we've got to go in confident. More confident than we was after the first 3 games, at least.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's what you're going to focus. You're going to focus on Mohamed Kudus, right? And I think that's what Bournemouth did as well. They just like literally just went for him and left our left side completely free. We've got nothing coming down.
That's where he struggles, though. That's where Mo struggles. Is when he gets shut out, he has got no answers and he goes missing. He does go missing, and that's what happened to him a lot last year. You know, he run down blind. When he's left one-on-one with people. With his strength, with his skill, with his tenacity, he'll get past anyone. Put 2 on him, 3 on him, and then that's when he starts to sort of like run out of ideas.
Is it going to leave a stall out for him?
Yeah, we'll see.
Is any chant? Anyone come up with a chant for him yet? Like a anti-Kudus chant?
We'll see Saturday. I've not heard none.
What's the chant we have? Nicky knows it. Our chant. Nicky knows our chant for Kudus.
Oh, yeah, it's a team from Upton Park. Yeah, I've been sent that many times.
Start a fire. That's the song. Yeah, so in terms of how you're going to set up, so you think there's going to be, you're going to go back to a back four?
I think we'll set up exactly the same as we did against Forest. 4-3-3, I believe it was.
Yeah, because I think for Tottenham, it's kind of we're not quite sure yet how, because we've got all these new signings to integrate. We've got other, we've got players like Tel Odebear who maybe didn't play as much as other players during the international break. So who are you looking at the team? Who do you hope the team is? Like, who do you hope is not included?
Ward-Prowse, I don't want Ward-Prowse in the side. I'd have Souček, I'd have Fernandes sitting if we're playing like that.
Mad money you paid for Fernandes. Like, was it 50 million?
Great player, though.
Yeah, I know. He's a good player.
Really fantastic. He reminds me of like 40, I think. I'll just
Southampton, yeah. Matthias.
But yeah, it is a lot of money, but it's what we needed. It's what we needed. He was the difference the other day, him and Somerville. So I think...
Sullivan for getting it done?
Yeah, well, you've got to give it... As I said, I'm a fair man. If you're not going to do it, I'm going to criticise you. If you get it done, you've got to get some praise, right? So... them two there and Paquetá, Wilson and probably Bowen with Fernandes. I think who was going to go? Maybe Somerville.
You think Wilson starts?
He's got a Fulcook's injured.
Yeah,
he's come off.
He's got another big one, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Same international break.
And Wilson, I think Wilson's looked all right, to be fair.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what makes Wilson, he's one of them players where he creates his own chances. We've missed a player like that for a long, long time. He carves his own chances out, and every game he's come on, and he's only had a few minutes, he's looked like scoring.
The problem with Wilson's keeping him fit as well.
That's the problem. Wilson's a great player until he gets injured.
Yeah.
That's way too often.
The one season he stayed quite fit for Newcastle, he got like nearly 20 goals.
Yeah, but this is the thing. If Callum Wilson was staying fit, he wouldn't be playing for us.
Right.
That's the
on
problem.
a pay-as-you-play contract.
Yeah, for $6,000 a week.
$6,000, and it goes up to 90
Is that
grand a
what
week.
he's on?
$6,000 basic if he's not playing.
Wow.
95 if he does.
Yeah,
Bloody hell.
if he gets a game. So he's been paying at the moment 90. I don't know if he comes on. I guess he gets the 90. Or...
I think he does. Yeah, I think he
wow. And this new guy on the left side, Jiff, he looks all right. Looks handy.
Yeah, he looks decent. Defending wise, if he going forward looks great.
It's going to be him against Kudus on that side then.
I would imagine,
Yeah.
Do you reckon Kudus will be liking the thought of facing him?
Diouf's got a chance to make himself a hero, I think. You know what I mean? Like the jury's been out on him in the first couple of games, but put Kudus into the stand, and I think he'll be a hero.
You know where I look at it? I think West Ham are going to come into this, and I feel like they're going to fancy their chances a little bit, and I think the fans are going to get them up for the occasion. But I just feel things are so fragile at West Ham. Like if Spurs get that first goal, I think it could crumble. I think it could crumble massively.
That's the thing.
If West Ham get that first goal, I think you could ride that momentum.
You looked at the Forest game the other day, and I was there. It had that. After 20 minutes, I thought, hold on a minute, I haven't conceded yet. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and all of a sudden you start to believe. I hope they bring that belief into the next game. The international break might come at the wrong time. You know what I mean? If this was straight on top of that, I think, yeah, you bring that momentum. But if they've lost that momentum. But, as you say, I think it's not just the team, but the crowd, the board, everything around the club. If it starts to crumble, it's going to fucking crumble. You know what I mean? Like it's on.
Like the Chelsea game, you know?
Yeah, it's on the edge. It's on the edge at the moment. You know what I mean? Like a few goals flying against us there, especially if he scores when they sold him to Tottenham and that, because a lot of the onus wasn't on Kudus when he left initially. It was on Sullivan. Like, we don't deal with them the same way you don't deal with us. And then when he said that, and he sort of, it seemed like it was the only offer that he'd listened to, and he'd taken it straight away. And people were like, why are you doing that? Like, you know what I mean? You're making us look foolish. So a lot of the onus was on that. So if he starts scoring against us, I think he could really light that fire.
I think it's like you've taken some batterings at London Stadium, like in recent years, like, but obviously never to Tottenham. Like, you've actually got a good record against us in recent years. But
I think it was
last time we've beaten you at the London Stadium was Jose Mourinho's first game.
Yes, yeah, that's right. But I think at Upton Park, I think in 20 years, I think we conceded 5 goals twice. I think in the 10 at the London Stadium, we've done it 12 times.
That's mad.
At the London Stadium. That's at home.
Mad. So, I mean, if that actually happens on the weekend, the fans, they're not going to stand.
No.
If they hold 5, there'll be a riot, probably.
We've seen Arsenal come and do it twice. We've seen Chelsea do it a couple of times. You know what I mean? It's not fun. You know what I mean? And then it just adds on top of the. No one likes the fucking stadium anyway. It's not a football stadium. You can't get any atmosphere going in there. You know, you've been. It's a shithole.
And what are your feelings as well when you look at your stadium and you've just seen Everton move into their new stadium, and you know,
looks like a brilliant stadium.
We've got our new stadium as well, and you're just looking at that. We've built those stadiums. You moved into that London stadium. Does it even put it into further context? You know what your stadium is like?
Because we can't understand how, especially with Everton, not so much you, because you know, in terms of revenue you supply more. But how can you go and build your own stadiums, and we get given a stadium, and we can't, and then all of a sudden we can't buy a player for £50 million because we owe so much money? Like, it doesn't make sense.
You've got a good rate on rent, don't you?
Yeah, that's what it's low. So how are we struggling? You know what I mean? Because when we moved into the stadium, it was like, yeah, well, you know, the revenue, the fact that we ain't got to pay the rent, or stuff, it gives us a chance to invest more into the. It just isn't fucking. It doesn't work like that. It isn't working like that. So when you're hearing that we have to sell Kudus to Spurs to balance the books, you think, hold on a minute, they've just bought the fucking stadium. Everton have just bought a stadium, and they're buying players.
Yeah, they've Dewsbury Hall, Grealish.
Like, where the fuck's the money gone?
But I mean, you spent a lot of money, a couple of years back.
It's ridiculous how much money we've spent and wasted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The amount of money that we've Haller, Scamacca, Felipe Anderson.
It's funny, Haller and Scamacca, they're rubbish to you. They've gone on to be quite good strikers
they
other
just
places.
didn't fit the system we was trying to play. You know, these players, for what we sold them for, we bought them and then basically sold them half price. We're like CX. That's what we are. We're the CX of the Premier League. We're buying these players and we're selling them on half price. Felipe Anderson, we paid £40 million for Felipe Anderson. Sold him for
$2 million.
£2 million.
I thought it was a decent player.
Was it Lazio?
He went to, he's retired now, I believe.
Yeah.
Or he's out, sort of getting the last.
I mean, didn't you pay big money for Paquetá, Kudus, Somerville?
Fulsberg.
I mean, we've made profit on Kudus. We paid 35 and sold him for 55. Should have.
He's probably the only one.
Probably the only one. Paquetá we would have made a profit on, I believe. But you know, that's 47 million is what Villa offered, and I think Paquetá sort of he's gone up in our estimations because we'd have made a loss on him. That would have been crazy to make a loss on a player like that.
Well, you spent more than 47 on him.
I think we paid 52.
Oh right,
or something like that.
What happened in that situation? Because it's like all the press was saying, yeah, he wants to go. He's kissing the badge against Chelsea when he scores.
Apparently there was reports also the night before saying he wanted to be left out against Forest.
Do you know what I think it was? And this is the God's honest truth. And this is where we was talking before about the in the know that I interviewed the other day, right? I think all the signs were from the club. I think the club wanted to sell, yeah, and he was sort of getting forced into the move. So what the signs coming out of the club was making it look like he wants to go. So if they said, well, you know, he wanted to go and all that. But I don't think he did want to go. So he gets to the Forest game, he scores, and he kisses the bat, and then they think, well, how the fuck can we sell him now? We can't sell him now, otherwise because our plans explode. But you know, it's like that in football. They will do things to make it look like the players at fault, you know. And where would these leaks come from otherwise?
Yeah.
Where would they come from?
And why would he do that? Why would he do that celebration as well if he didn't want to send a message? You know what I mean? Because he had the phone and he said chucked it away.
Yeah. And
Taylor, 2 transfers. Simmons says he got the call from Tottenham and he answered it. Paquetá said he got the call and he chucked the phone away.
That's what I'm saying. So you know, they was hoping that he'd fancy the Villa thing because you see it. Even Romano was saying, yeah, he fancies the project and all that. Obviously, he didn't. He showed it in the next day that he didn't.
There are also rumours that if Tottenham had put in a big enough bid, you would be willing to sell to us as well.
That would have been crazy. I think that would have been a riot.
Mate, if you would have sold us Paquetá and Kudus in the same window, oh my days.
Just imagine this game with Paquetá as well. That would be crazy.
Turn up.
Yeah, but it's fantastic for you that you kept him because for me, he's a great player. I know I saw when it looked like he might be leaving, I saw there was a lot of West Ham fans like just trying to cope with the situation, saying, "Oh, he's been inconsistent, all this kind of stuff. Like we don't need him." But like,
he has been inconsistent this season.
He's a brilliant player.
Fire. That game Saturday was Sunday. Was the best I've seen him. The best I've seen him, and that is why I always said we shouldn't be looking to that. A lot of players, no goals, no assists last season.
Really, no goals, no assists.
Very rough time.
Wow, didn't realise it was that bad.
With all that stuff, I mean,
it was a mental thing.
Of course, yeah, it was mental.
Mentally,
he was struggling.
Yeah.
He was struggling mentally.
He broke down in tears, didn't he? Well, after getting booked against Spurs.
Yeah. So like, you know, he was going through a lot. It was a frustrating time for him. They've been, I mean, what they've done to him at the FA is a disgrace. I think it's a disgrace. The way they treated him for you know, and we've looked at the thing, they had no evidence. This was all circumstantial. This is all what if. And to put a man through that for 2 years, and he's cost him a massive move. He would have won the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he played in the Champions League.
80 million, that was...
What are you saying? There are reports that you want to maybe sue?
Of course.
You want to sue the Premier League for this whole charge because it cost you?
Him now for not complying with answering questions. When they had his phone, this is all over a phone, they had his phone for 3 months, they give it back to him, then they wanted it back, and he's like, I got rid of it. I got a new phone, like, upgraded. And they're like, well, you didn't comply with it. That's what they're trying to fine him for, when they didn't have any evidence in the fucking first place. So what you do, so how you charge, they charged him, by the way, so how are you charging someone with no evidence? Now you're looking for evidence. That's not the way it works.
I read David Moyes was giving evidence.
Yeah, good on David Moyes.
And what I read was because obviously we've seen the clips of him getting booked. You know, or when there's been big bets on him getting booked and stuff, it looks like it's on purpose or whatever. You could construe it that way if you are so inclined. And apparently David Moyes just in the evidence saying that's just how Paquetá tackles. Essentially, that's just how he plays.
Yeah. If you see him for Brazil, he's exactly the same as well. And
I think that's where the bets came from, though. Because people know what he's like. You know, if you're that sort of player, with that Brazilian flair and, you know, that Brazilian temperament, he's more than likely will get booked.
Well, who was that other player that it happened to that there was accusations against for book? Was it Granit Xhaka?
Yeah, there was a suspicion. No, I think there was an investigation. I don't think it led anywhere. He wasn't charged. Like I think
Paquetá was hard tackling midfielders. You know what I mean?
You have to be very. I mean, listen. I'm sure it goes on. But you'd have to be an idiot to do that. He's on £150,000 a week or whatever he's on. His mates at home are winning $2,000. You know, it wasn't like it was millions and millions and millions. Just give him $2,000. And you say, oh, I won't get booked on purpose. Like, why would you risk it? Like, it would be stupid. But I am sure it does go on. I'm sure of it. But I don't see where it will make logical sense to do that. He could, you know, for what they won, I think it was £80,000 overall. That's half a week's wages. Yeah. Just give it to him. If that's, you know what I mean? And he can.
Is there any chance, just moving on to the goalkeeper, is there any chance that Potter's just taken one look at Hermansen and said, just get me Fabianski back?
No. That's I think it's just the voice in the change room. Hermansen looked all right last game.
Yeah, better?
Yeah.
Because he hasn't looked good in the other games.
It had looked a bit rough. No, but I think Hermansen will be all right.
You think he'll be all right?
Yeah,
you weren't very keen on him when we
No. Well, from what I saw in the first 2 games, I thought this is a bit dodgy, but no, I think he'd be all right. I think he was just maybe nervous.
Well, I think at the back end of last season, or in the lead up to this season, I can't remember what stream it was. I think you were saying to us, you know, we finished above you last season. You can't be too confident this season about finishing above us. You're going to need to improve a lot.
No.
How are you feeling now about that situation?
Listen, we've had a bad start. Right? We win this weekend, we're level.
It's true. Look, it's 4 games in, yeah. You got 3 games in.
So, like...
Are you going to win this weekend, though?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to plumb for a draw. I think it'll be a draw.
Draw?
Yeah. What's the score? Like score draw?
2-2. Yeah.
2-2.
2-2. Desmond.
Is Kudus going to score?
No.
Are you sure about that?
I think he's going to come close, though.
But all your thoughts on relegation battles are still there? Are you still feeling? Yeah, it hasn't changed.
No. You've got to look at it. I'd be foolish after one result to start thinking that it's all rosy. I need to see more evidence. We've signed more players. He's changed the system. We'll see how it goes. But from what I see in the first 3 games, the signs are there.
I think Wolves are definitely worse than you so far in the first 3 games.
The problem is, when we played Wolves, we played their second string with pretty much their first team. Right, we was in control. As soon as they started bringing on their first teamers, it completely changed. And they dominated, which is worrying because that's Wolves and they're one of the worst. So, as I said, we've got a couple of signings in. Hopefully Potter sorts it out. Give me another 10 games and then I'll tell you where we'll be at the end of the season. But I'll be stupid if I turned around and said, nah, we're back. Because that's what you lot do. You win one game and then you start telling everyone you're going to win a Premier League. You know what I mean? But
not wrong. He's not wrong.
I've seen a lot of evidence.
We get ahead of it. I mean, there was a lot of Spurs fans coming up to me after the City game saying, "We're in the title challenge. We're going to win." I was like, "Oh God,
we're doing this again, are we?"
You lot and Arsenal are the worst.
Arsenal much worse than us.
As a supporter of a smaller club, someone that doesn't win as many games, you have to be very humble until the fact. You and Arsenal speak before. I remember walking into AFTV studio the day we beat them at their ground, right? And they was talking about the next game against Liverpool being a title decider. That's what they were saying. It'll be down to 2 points by the time we get to Liverpool. We beat them, we're on top. They haven't even played the game yet. You know what I mean? And he's like, but I'm like, whoa, what about today?
You have to beat us.
No
exactly.
Yeah. Lost 1-0. Completely fucked up the title. You know,
the way Arsenal fans speak about their own club, you think they're like winning trophy after trophy year after year, mate.
I'll tell you something off camera about that, mate. It's not good there, yeah.
But so I know we were speaking about Spurs who finished 17th last season. You were saying, it's going to take something big to not big, but you have to improve a lot to be above West Ham. You finished above us. But where do you actually think Spurs will be competing for this season with the signings them in? Top six, you reckon? So you reckon they'll make a jump from 17th to top 6?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the football, it is easy to do that as well. I think we've done this in the Conference League a little bit. You lost 22 games last year. That's not acceptable for a club like Tottenham. But Man United were down there. We were down there doing the same sort of things. And I'm not saying we're entitled to be doing that. But when you look at where you are at the end of the season, if the bottom three weren't as bad, I don't think you'd have lost as many games. You'd have won at least 3 or 4 more of them games to make sure you were in.
The reality is we were safe by February. That's the reality.
Everyone was safe.
Yeah,
that's
everyone was
the
safe.
thing. Yeah. So then you had that, and Man United were the same. Had the run in the Europa League. You thought, fuck it, we're not going to go down. We're not going to really jump up to the point where we're going to qualify the champ. What's the fucking point? Might as well put all your energies into that. And I think we've done that in the Conference League a little bit. When we was in the Conference League, you just put all your eggs in one basket, and then when you get to the end of it, you're playing Man United, you've got to fancy your chances. You know what I mean? So that's who was on the other side of the ladder. It wasn't a typically sort of hard run to the final, really. Frankfurt was quite impressive, but they're not the Frankfurt that they were when we played them. You know what I mean? They've lost a lot of their decent players, their Champions League level players. But you look at that and you think, well, nothing's happening in the league. Why put your effort into that, and we've got a chance? And I think that's what happened. But Frank's come in. Frank's impressive. You've signed some good players. Sorting it out a little bit,
Levy's gone.
Levy's gone. Yeah, that's a massive.
Talk about that, because I've seen a lot of West Ham fan reaction actually from that, saying, "Look what Tottenham have done, protest, and Levy's gone. You should be doing the same."
I think it'll boost the club. 25 years he was there, and we spoke about this the other days. And someone was saying about the protests. Protests do nothing. I said they've been protesting for 25 years. Jesus just walked out of the blue. It ain't come because he fancied a change. He
didn't walk out.
He didn't walk out. No, he was sacked. Yeah, but I said that doesn't come if the pressure doesn't get put on. I said if no one says anything, then just let him get on with it.
I think mainly the protests last year were the biggest protest that ever been against him.
Yeah. So, and there's been a lot of wasted opportunities at Tottenham, a lot, and that's not acceptable. You know what I mean? And that is when you have to do, as the badge says, dare to do. Yeah. And this is what we spoke about on London Is Ours. Is people were having a go at me for wanting to get rid of Moyes and move to the next level. But no one's having a go at you for doing the same thing because you've moved on to the next level. I didn't choose
Some Spurs fans are having a go at you, I'll tell you that.
But I'm just saying, I don't choose the manager.
Yeah.
The board choose the manager.
Yeah.
Levy chooses the next manager or whoever. So it's not my fault for wanting change. It's their fault for not getting the person that's going to advance. You go from Moyes to Lopetegui, it's fucking pointless. Pointless. It was pointless. If they'd have gone from Moyes to Pep Guardiola, then we wouldn't be having the same conversation. I'm not choosing the manager. I'm just putting my faith in them that they're going to choose the manager to get to the next level. You know what I mean? So it's lazy journalism saying, didn't want to get rid of Moyes, didn't we? And all that. But you've got to put your pressure on. If you don't put the pressure on, they'll take the piss out of you.
So what do you want to see then? What call to action do you want to see against the board? Do you want to see heavy protests every game?
No, I don't think that's helpful, heavy protests every game. But at least make your noise. Make the noise, you know what I mean? It's a long time. Every time there was big pressure put on them in 2018.
I remember there was stuff going on inside the ground.
Yeah, and they had to make massive changes, right? And then the
Mark
voices...
Noble was getting into fights.
Yeah. But there was, you know, it scared them. It worried them. It frightened them. And then as the years have gone on, things have sort of settled down and plateaued a little bit. And there hasn't been as much pressure. And then they're getting comfortable again. And then they're starting to think, right, let's take this away and see how they react. Let's take that away, see how they react. Let's do this to them, see how they react. And it's getting to the point now where they're just taking the piss. You know, we don't forget all the lies that they told us when we went to the stadium. That still hasn't been... we was told when we got there, we have to be out of debt. We'll be out of debt to it. They owed their self money and they pay they pay interest on the money. We'll be out of debt by the time we get there. They're still in debt now, 10 years later. And he's still paying himself £30 million a year in interest. Get out.
But I guess the difference between what's happened at Tottenham and West Ham is Sullivan's the one who holds ultimate power, right? He's the one at the top.
Levy wasn't. No, he was the one making the footballing decision. This geezer's making every decision.
So he's not unless
you're a buyer.
Sell it cheaper then. He's
So,
got £800 million. If I said to you, do you want to buy my rented council house for £800 million, what would you say? Fuck off.
But how much did he pick it up for?
50.
50 million?
100 million or something.
Really?
Between the two of them, yeah.
So, but the thing is, if you protest Sullivan and stuff, we're going to put the pressure on, fair. But no, like Sullivan can't be fired by anyone. Levy, you know, he can be essentially. He didn't hold the ultimate power as much as he had all the control at one point. But it was ultimately the Lewis family who had all the power.
For sure.
So, you know, you're basically asking him to sell rather than Sullivan step down or be fired because he holds the power. He's not going to fire himself.
It's a hard fight, and it's a very difficult fight, and it's a fight where you have to try and sort of let him know that he's not welcome there anymore without affecting the team and sort of encroaching on the playing staff, which is hard. It's difficult.
Doesn't seem like he cares about fan sentiment though. Like if he doesn't care, then like what can you do? You know what I mean?
And I know this sounds grim, but we've got to probably have to wait for him to die.
Jesus.
He's getting on. He's not, you know, he doesn't look in great health, to be quite honest with you. But I think that's the only way.
And then what, Brady takes full control?
Oh, fuck's sake. I don't know. But you know, but make it uncomfortable. It might get to the point where I can't be bothered with this stuff.
But you know how like Spurs have like all these other revenue streams of like, you know, concerts and F1 tracks and all this kind of stuff.
Same.
We don't go to us.
I was about to say, what revenue streams do you have that actually go to West Ham? Because all the stuff for the stadium, right? You're only renting the stadium, so all the other events and whatever goes on there, you don't get a slice of that, do you?
West
Ham. So like, like
merchandise?
But how much
merchandise and player sales
can that
and sponsorship?
That's it. But how much can that do for you in terms of like you've still got to run that yourself? You've got to supply the security. You've got to do this. You've got to do. So you pay all of the bills to that. We don't pay nothing.
If you don't get any of the money,
£2 million a year to rent that state. 2 million. That's it. All in. We get all the ticket sales. We get all the revenue. They get the food, the concessions on the food, and obviously if there's something held there in between. £2 million to what you pay is probably equivalent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but the Spurs are making an absolute killing.
I bet they are. Yeah.
With all the events and everything.
But that's their fucking own fault for selling Upton Park. They had that money as well. Don't forget. So, yeah, I ain't got a clue. I didn't put ourselves in that position. They put us in the position. They have to find a fucking way to get the money.
Where do you rank in the Premier League when it comes to like revenue you generate? Do you know, like is it mid-table? Is it bottom?
I think
12. 12 in the world. Oh, so you're actually quite high up.
Yeah, I think 12th in the world. 12th in terms of revenue generated in the world.
So how are you struggling?
12th in the world.
Apparently so, yeah.
Bloody hell.
What? So how are you struggling? How are you struggling if you're 12th in the world?
Ask him.
That makes no sense.
Makes no sense. No. But that's what I'm saying, and that's what I was saying about the in the nose. They'll put this information out there. No, it's no good. But it's not. It's just nonsense. Just
12th
absolute
in the
nonsense.
world.
Because we're
Don't have
9th in the
stadium bills
world.
to
We're
pay.
9th in the world. So
Yeah.
you're only 3 places below us.
That's
in
mad.
revenue.
I don't know, man, about that. Like 12th in the world, really.
I guess who
It
else
was,
in the Premier League
at least
would
it
be?
was a few years back. Maybe not now.
I
But
guess who else in the Premier League would be? Obviously, you've got the top 6
Arsenal,
and top 6.
Yeah, top 6.
Newcastle, maybe? I don't know.
I think it was above Inter. and things like
Wow.
that. Yeah,
That's mental.
it's crazy.
That is really mental. Obviously, like Premier League clubs are up there because of the TV revenue money.
No, I understand that, but I'm just trying to think in the Premier League. I guess because the stadium's big, you know, match day sales is probably larger than most.
Shop as well. We've got the shop.
I don't know. Would they be more than Newcastle potentially? Maybe London.
Newcastle got just as big a stadium.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like in terms of revenue generator being in London, maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
In the world, I'm positive of that. A few years back as well. I haven't looked recently, so I don't like to look at our books, to be honest.
Don't blame you, mate.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But look, ferocious game about to happen. I think this is going to be the most intense Spurs West Ham game for a while. Because, like I said before, it just hasn't seemed right the last couple of times we've played each other.
No, it's been a bit of a damp squib, as I said. It's been a little bit.
I think there's going to be fire in this one.
Yeah, I think
It's
there's got to
gonna
be,
proper
man. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward
But
to it.
that's what you want to play these games. You want to feel that
wanna
kind
feel
of fire.
fire,
You want to
yeah.
feel that. That's what we get into football
I
for.
think when you get to that point, I think you need to get two sets of players that are at least a couple of them give a shit about the rivalry and all that sort of thing. You know, you can't be going into these games where no one, we're playing Frankfurt next week. I can't be bothered to, you can't be going into them games. It's ridiculous. So yes, coming so early in the season with no Champions League and no Europa League or whatever it is getting in the way, I think this will be a ferocious one.
Nicky's going 2-2. Sim?
I am going to go 2-1. 2-1 Spurs.
Is Kudus going to score?
He'll get an assist.
Assist.
I think he'll get an assist.
I'm going to put little pins on that scene.
That's it.
I just hope you got them ready for him, man. No, they left them behind.
Nice. I hope it's padded.
They're all round there, but I
padded.
won't go and sit on them because there's going to someone
Has to put it next to the away end. Has to put it back by the away end, I think.
So bitter. What would you put pins on those seats for? The ball boys will get hurt.
Good. They're just as bad.
It's the ball boys' fault.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-1. I just think the floodgates can go. If we get that first goal, I think we can get a few.
It's going to be one of them ones. Could be a tight draw, could be a narrow West Ham win, but I think if Spurs score early, it could be 5-6. One of them ones.
That will not go that like literally. If Spurs score 5 or 6 at the London Stadium, oh my days!
Yeah, it'll go off. Yeah,
it will go off massively. Like you as well. You see, like there's always been those images against Arsenal when the fans are just pouring out with like half an hour to go and stuff. Do you think that would be the case?
Do you know
against
what?
Spurs?
Right?
Or will they just stay in and hammer the team?
No, they will go. They will go. That is not a true reflection. That right? Let me explain a little bit about them images. That images that they showed at half time. There is an outside bit where there's catering stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the fans were going into the catering area. They wasn't leaving.
Going to get a drink.
They was just going to get a beer. Yeah,
Early drink. No point. Right.
It wasn't.
You
like
do that all the time. You leave early to go get a drink.
Yeah, honestly. So a lot of them were just going because they open the doors up so you can have a smoke, you can have a beer and all that outside rather than being in the concourse.
Yeah.
So a lot of them fans, if you look at it properly, were going into the catering area. They wasn't leaving. There was enough leaving. Don't get me wrong. There was quite a few going, and I don't blame them to be honest. But yes, three or four before half time, I reckon you could see a big stream of people going out. It wasn't good against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Says here you're 17th in the
there
world.
we go. Yeah.
According to Deloitte. Only Newcastle, Chelsea, but basically Newcastle in the top
I think
6.
Newcastle. I think
are the only teams above you.
Newcastle was before the takeover.
Yeah, this is 2024.
Yeah.
312 above Villa.
Yeah.
there
I
you go.
don't think they was anywhere near us either. So.
17th. Yeah, so basically just the main teams in Europe, and then there's West Ham.
That's pretty mad though. Like for a team that's not like
Competing.
historically history in Europe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At one point it was 12th. I remember seeing it 12th.
Wow. But look, that is it from us today. We'll be on West Ham Fan TV, so check out that for pre-match opposition preview. Nicky,
Thank you very much.
thank you for
Thanks for
coming on
coming, Nicky.
today.
Good luck
mate.
after next week.
Yeah, after everyone go and check out Nicky at West Ham Fan TV. Great West Ham content. If you're that way inclined, you never know, but there is some great content out there of late. So,
Some good crash outs, I'll give you that.
but yeah, that is all from us today. Like, subscribe, and comment, and as always, come on, you Spurs.